just let him in. I just let him in and Evan.
Oh, you did. Oh, good.
Thank you, Chris.
No problem. I'm sorry I didn't catch it.
That's
Chris is
okay.
she's like a bouncer here.
Yeah.
Right? Got a velvet rope and everything. And I believe we're live now.
All right. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the working session for April 23rd. We are conducting our meeting remotely because of the stay home, stay safe order. And I'm going to encourage everybody who's watching this right now to stay home and stay safe. And our first item is roll call.
Commissioner Beeman?
Here.
Commissioner Brayback?
Here.
Commissioner Jamnick? I think she might be.
I'm arguing with myself. I'm here.
Awesome. Commissioner Jefferson?
Here.
Commissioner Labar?
Here.
Commissioner Maciejewski?
Here.
Commissioner Morgan?
Here.
Commissioner Scott? Commissioner Schenk?
Here.
Thank you.
Next, we have citizen participation. Are there any citizens, residents who want to say something to the board tonight? If so, there's a 5-minute limit to talk at working session. And I believe there is a way to raise your hand so that you would be called on by our program administrator. Do we have any people wanting to speak?
There are none.
Okay, thank you. It looks like there are none, so we will skip commissioner follow-up to citizen participation and move on to our discussion items. Our first discussion item tonight is a solid waste update by Evan Pratt, Water Resources Commissioner, and Theo Egremont, Public Works Manager. As somebody who's very interested in what we're doing with our solid waste in the community, I am very much looking forward to this presentation. Thank you. So, Mr. Pratt, if you're able.
I can take it over. I'm Theo Egremont, Public Works Manager. And, you should be able to see my screen. Is that coming through there? Okay. So thanks. I'm glad to be here, invited to give a solid waste update. So I'm going to start with some high-level details, just go over some of our division and how we operate. And then I'm going to move into our solid waste plan. And then item 3, I'll talk about our programs and the different metrics that we have. Then I'll move into talking about some of the challenges for our department and the recycling or solid waste world at large. And last, I'll talk about how we leverage different resources in order to address some of those challenges. So item 1, we are Public Works. We operate under Public Act 185, which allows us to do work within different realms, including sewer, solid waste, and lake improvement projects. We do have 4 lake improvement projects, which are special assessment districts that allows us to treat invasive weeds within the lakes. Then we have under solid waste, which is the other realm that we operate under. We're a little bit unique talking about our funding stream in that we don't tap the general fund, which is something that's, I'm sure, a benefit to the county. So our funding comes from the host agreement with Arbor Hills Landfill, which provides about $1.3 to $1.5 million to operate the different programs that we have. Additionally, we have an obligation as a county under the Michigan Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act, Part 115, to secure 10 years of landfill capacity. And that's what our solid waste plan does, is it designates where that landfill capacity is coming from, and that's updated semi-regularly. It's under review right now for some revisions, which would create some different changes to that, which would make the solid waste plan need to be updated every 5 years. Right now, it's pretty loose as to how often that is updated. So that's just a little bit about the structure that we operate under and some of the guiding acts that we're obligated under. Moving into some specifics for our solid waste plan. There's 5 different goals that we have, and there's up to 10 different objectives under all of those. So just some guiding principles to give you that the whole plan operates under. It operates with the idea that we should be providing access and convenient access for the majority of the county. We should be looking for more diversion and recovery, less disposal of things, education and outreach, data and measurement, funding, coordination and collaboration. And excuse me just a sec. So those are the guiding principles for what we're looking for. Our plan is pretty forward thinking. It's been a model for the state with an eye towards zero waste overall. Moving into some of the our annual report for 2019, as you can see, we're trending up for the amount of pounds that we process. Majority of that is diverted. I say process because some of that is bulky waste that is collected at our county cleanup days. And the idea behind that is that we divert things from like roadside ditches so that people aren't illegally dumping. So we do collect items that are destined for the landfill as well. So our county cleanup days is one of our larger programs. We have 4 to 5 different communities that we work with, usually partnering with schools or municipalities in order to provide recycling and landfill diversion for things like electronics, general recycling, tires, scrap metal, those kind of things that are hard to get rid of. And those are scattered throughout Washtenaw County. They are donation based, so we don't turn county residents away. We also have the Household Hazardous Waste, or the Home Toxic Center, which we divert a large amount of material. We get over 5,000 residents in the past year, diverting almost 400,000 pounds of material. A lot of things like paint, pesticides, aerosols, acids, bases, batteries. So we do collect a lot of material there. We're the most accessible home toxic center in the state as far as operating hours that we work under. So we provide a really good service for residents there. We also provide zero waste events throughout the county, aiming to have everything at events be compostable or recyclable. And we rely on a number of volunteers in order to operate that program. And the volunteers help operate waste stations, helping people to decide if things should be composted, recycled, or if they should end up in the trash. Our goal is 90%, and we had a number of events this year that achieved that objective. We also operate a drug take-back program. So we have a website, Don't Flush Drugs, and partner with different pharmacies and universities to provide convenient and accessible locations for unused medication. So in 2019, we funded 1,400 pounds roughly of medication. So that wasn't flushed down the drain or thrown out in the landfill. So there's a number of other places that collect that, like Meyer, that people can take the medication to. That's just the stuff that we funded. So there's amount of material that's actually deferred or diverted from landfill responsibly, or from the sewer or toilets or other things like that, was much more larger than that. And then one of our largest programs is the school recycling program. We have 6 districts, 27 schools, and provide recycling collection and educational support through the Ecology Center, with the idea that if we educate students, they'll take it home with them, and we can end up training both people today as well as people tomorrow. And we recycled almost 500,000 pounds of material through the school recycling program. So that's one of our largest programs that we operate under. So some of the challenges that we have, looking at both internal and external challenges. The first one is markets. It's really inexpensive to landfill materials. Also, commodities have fallen over the long term for a better part of a decade. The value of recycling commodities have decreased. We're just starting to see that trend reverse, where materials are starting to go up, especially cardboard. It seems like everything we get nowadays comes in a cardboard box, and so people are really looking to create more cardboard boxes. So that material is really valuable at this point. One of the biggest challenges that we have for a fully and strong recycling system is infrastructure. So both with the closure of the MRF in 2016 in Ann Arbor, it left a void in recycling capacity in Washtenaw County. And so the majority right now of our recycling stream is processed outside of the county, which adds transportation costs to get it there, as well as it's, for example, like this past, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the new Boston MRF, where a number of our materials end up going for the municipalities surrounding Ann Arbor, that shut down due to an incidence of COVID-19. And so some of that material was landfilled for that period of time. So having a additional capacity in Washtenaw County for recycling processing is important. We do have a MRF or a material recovery facility where the recycling is processed. On the western side, WWRA, and we continue to work and support them in various ways. So we could use some additional capacity for recycling processing, but we also have a need for additional drop-offs. We commissioned a 2017 study to look at if there was a need for additional materials to be diverted. And those are the